So we are back. We are back. We are back to Squibbers here at Florence Square, 2251 Florence Road, Sacramento's Black Wall Street, and we're very proud of that title that people have given us. You know, we've been having some fun, but as you know, it never stops. We said it. Our last podcast, the podcast before that, there's always something that's going on, and this is not a difference. Breonna Taylor, who by the way, her case was swept under the rug not that long ago, but since the George Floyd shooting, murder, they've been revisiting other cases, and Breonna Taylor was one of the cases that they revisited, and through a lot of noise and fanfare, comes up that the police, one police officer was charged with wanton endangerment. Yeah, which carries, I think, a maximum of 5 years, which he probably won't see a day in court, you know? And we could talk about that, we could. However, we also have what's coming up is because we've been protesting and in some cases rioting for the past 6 months, the police have arrested a multitude of people of all persuasion. And the interesting thing is a lot of these folk are rich white folk, okay? Some in blackface, I might add, okay? But now the police are determining how they're going to charge them, how they're going to prosecute them. Some have been having like a $1 million bail, okay? $1 million bail. And it's going to be interesting to see, are they going to be charged with misdemeanors, with a slap on the wrist, or felonies for the same thing, you know what I mean? So how are you guys doing over there?
We're doing fine.
You doing good?
Right,
Okay.
right.
Who's winning?
It's his move.
Okay, fantastic. So we have Dale McKinney, also of Florence Square. Okay, he's one of 2 attorneys that we have, and he has a great history. And so I asked him to come on and kind of educate us about how all this could be processed. So Dale, thank you very much, man. Thank you very much. And I know that every time I speak with you, you know, you can talk. So don't let this be different. Okay, don't let it be different. But before we get started, can you please share with my audience just a little bit of your history, please? Because it's quite something to listen to.
Okay. I'm a Sacramento native. I was born in Del Paso Heights in 1950. I lived in Del Paso Heights until 1961, when I moved to Los Angeles to live with my father. I was in Los Angeles from 61 to 66. I moved back to Sacramento in 66, completed high school at Burbank in summer of 1967. I went to work for the Department of Motor Vehicle in November of 67. I quit in May of 69 under the influence of the Black Panther Party when I realized that the Department of Motor Vehicle was actually an arm of law enforcement. And so, not wanting to be part of law enforcement as a result of the political education I gained from the Black Panther Party, I quit that job. And later on, I was a part of what was considered a poverty program in Oak Park called the Black Souls. I became the president of the BSU at Sacramento City College in 1970. I was charged later on in 1970 with the murder of Patrolman Bernard Bennett, who was killed in front of the Black Panther office on May the 9th, 1970. I was later released from that charge. 4 people went to trial on that, called the Oak Park 4. Mark Teamer, Booker T. Cook, Ciriaco Cabrelas, and Jack Strivers. In January of '71, the charges were dropped on them, and they were released from custody. In 1972, I joined the Nation of Islam. I became the secretary of the Nation of Islam, which was Temple number 73, was established on 35th Street in Oak Park. We had a Temple number 73. We had Shabazz Fish and Chip. We also had Your Market, all operating on 35th Street, 73, 74, and 74. I was arrested along with 3 other Muslims for 2 assaults and a murder. The assault of Lloyd Ravel, the assault of off-duty police sergeant Gerald Backridge, and the murder of Joseph Belmore in North Highlands. I was tried with 3 individuals who were caught in a car with a gun that was later determined to have been used in all 3 assaults. I wasn't in the car with them. I was picked up the next morning entering the Temple. I was taken downtown for questioning. I gave them a 2-hour un-Mirandized statement that was used against me. They later indicted me by the grand jury, charged me with conspiracy to commit murder, and I was put on trial with the 3 men that were caught with the murder weapon. I was found guilty on November 9th, 1974. I was sentenced to life in prison. November 27th, 1974, I was in prison from November 1974 to May the 5th, 1989. I got out of prison. I went back to school and got at City College. Completed City College in '92, transferred to Sac State. Completed Sac State in 1996. I got a certified tax preparer's license from H&R Block in '97. Got a real estate broker's license in 1998. Entered law school in 2000. Graduated from law school in 2004. Passed the bar in 2005. And was licensed to practice law in 2007. So that's my story.
So that's a story.
It's amazing.
It is.
The timeline is phenomenal.
Yeah. And like I tell you, like I tell some other folk, I'm waiting for the book to come out, man. You know, and the movie with the dude from Tenet, what's his name, Denzel Washington's son. Okay. What do you think,
I know what you're talking about.
You like that?
I saw him in Ballers.
Okay.
He's a football player in Ballers.
Exactly, him. But yeah, it is truly amazing, your story. And so,
Well, I forgot one part.
oh, there's more.
In 1971, no, actually 70, I applied. There was a program across the street from the Black Panther office called Valley Area Construction Opportunity Program.
That's what I was going to say, yep.
Which was an affirmative action program that was put there to allow people in the black community to enter into construction trades. So I entered that program right around the last part of 70, and I picked the trade electrician from the book. And so it was interesting because during the Nixon administration, Richard Nixon realized that he couldn't deal with the Black Power movement with law enforcement. So he decided that in order to combat Black Power, he would implement Black capitalism. And based on that concept, he forced trade unions and schools to start allowing Black people into the trade unions and the schools. Now, a lot of people are under the misapprehension that this was, they call it, what do they call it, an entitlement program?
Mm-hmm.
But it really wasn't. Back then, you could be more than qualified, but they wouldn't let you in.
Absolutely.
And so what affirmative action did was force them to allow qualified people into positions. So I applied to be an electrician in 70. I took the test in 71. But what they were doing is, and this, it was a state test. They had 2 tests you had to take to be an electrician. There was a mathematics test, and then there was a state test. That was a multiple test, manual dexterity, different, I forgot what a verbal, it was a 3-hour test. And so the administrator of the program, Bill Woodfin, told me, when I told him that I wanted to be an electrician, he told me that every black man that he'd sent down to take the test all failed the same part of the test. And I said, wow, doesn't that sound strange to you? I said, even if you assume erroneously that we're all ignorant, we're not all ignorant in the same area. So I questioned that. So he said, well, so when I went to take the test, it was myself and 4 other brothers, and all of them were veterans. I was the only non-veteran. So we went down there and took the test. Results came back. We'd all failed the same part of the test. So I was 20 years old at the time, and so I was under the influence of the Black Power movement and all of that. So I got mad at him, and I told him, they were lying and he was stupid for believing them. So he said, well, just go down and take the test over. And I said, I'm not doing it. So he said, well, let me negotiate with him. So he talked to him. So then he came back to me and he said, well, if you go down and take the part that we'd all failed was 10 minutes. And it was verbal. It was a verbal test. And so he said, will you go take the verbal part of the test again? And I said, okay, I'll do that. So I went down and I took the test again. When the result came back, they said not only had I passed it, but the other 4 brothers had passed it too. And they didn't even go. So I was fine with that. So then they said, okay, for the fall of 1971, we'll let 5 people in. It was 6 of us at the time. They said, we'll let 5 people in. We'll make Dale McKinney number 26. He'll be an alternate, just in case somebody drops out, which meant I wasn't going to get in. So what got me in was, at the time, the only black electrical contractor in Sacramento, whose name was William Augustus Hunt Sr., Bill Hunt, went down there and acted such a fool that they said, okay, all right, just calm down, we'll let Dale in. So they made an exception for that year and let me in as number 26. My apprenticeship was interrupted as a result of this charge that I was convicted of. So once I got out, I went back to the union, completed the journeyman's test, and became a journeyman electrician.
So I'm gonna stop you there, because as you can see, I just say go, and there he goes. He just got great stuff to talk about. He really does. So imagine this, through all the trauma in his life, he still comes out with a legal degree, and he's a licensed electrician. Wow. Okay, which by the way, both careers are money-making careers. So kudos. We're going to step away, and as we get into our 4th and final segment, we're going to have him talk about what's going on with the protest and the legal situation there. Emily Strait, Aaron Boyce, this is what's it called?
Florence Square?
Okay, Florence Square Biz Talk. All right, so we'll see you in 5. minutes, seconds, I don't know, it'll be 5. All right.
Okay, so now,
Right. So,
he's ahead.
I know,
He's got
right?
a bishop to his
Yep.
2 pawns.
Yep.
So that's 4 points to 2.
Who's
Okay.
ahead, Solomon?
No.
Yeah, he's ahead, right?